Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 33rd episode of the Minutes of Mindfulness series. I am your host, JC Conway, and as always, we are incredibly grateful to have you here for our 33rd episode. And today, what I want to talk about is not the 32 episodes in the past and not the hundreds of episodes to come in the future, but today I want to talk about right now. So it's been said before that those who obsess over the future tend to suffer from anxiety. That would be me. I definitely fall into that category. And those who obsess over the past tend to suffer from depression. I know a lot of people in my life who have depression, but it seems for me that I fall in the latter category or the former category in that most of my time is spent thinking about the future. Now, it wasn't until literally like last week that I realized just how often my mind is stuck in the future. And I think until we actually do a mindfulness practice or we actually sit down and observe where our mind is, most of the times, we never know. And until we know whether our mind is in the past or in the future all the time, we can't really act accordingly. We can't heal our mind, can't heal our heart, and actually live in the present. If we don't know if we're spending all of our time here or there, how do we ever get here? And that's what today's episode is all about. I'm going to give you guys a framework to find out where your mind lives, whether it's in the past or the future. And then once you know that, I'm going to show you how to come and bring your attention back to the present moment. So for me, why don't I get into how I discovered where my mind lives? And it was really simple. The other day, I sat down for a meditation practice. And as you guys know, there's a lot going on in my life, and I'm no different than you. I think all of us have a million things going on. And sometimes before I sit for a meditation practice, my mind is really calm. Other times, my mind is going crazy. Well, this just happened to be one of those days where my mind was going nuts. And before the meditation, I said to myself, as I've said this before, I always have an intention. Before I close my eyes, I always state some sort of intention to myself to keep me on track and to keep me motivated for the meditation. So in this particular day, my intention was to see where my mind was. And I didn't really say explicitly, tell me whether or not I'm in the future or in the past. I just said, I want to see where my mind is today. And as I was meditating, as I settled into my breath, as I was focusing in on my anchor, for me, I practice open awareness. And what that entails is observing the mind objectively, almost as if you're watching a movie of your mind. And when you notice that you've strayed away from your anchor or you've strayed away from the objective observation of the mind, you just make a quick note of where your mind was at or what you were thinking about at that moment. Now, in practice, it looks like this. You find your anchor, you're settling in, and the second you notice your mind wanders, you make a note of what you were thinking about or where your mind was. Now, the great thing about the noting technique is you can also place where your mind is. Is it in the future or is it in the past? Now, for me, when I was doing this meditation practice, my anchor is always my breath. And every single time it seemed like I would fall away from my anchor, I would make a note. And every single time, that note always had to do with something in the future. Whether it was something I had to get done after my meditation practice, or whether it was how I'm going to present myself in front of some person to make sure that they like me later on down the road, or whether it was, will I ever make it? Will all this work that I'm doing pay off for me in the end? Will I ever have enough to support my family and my friends and be a good person and serve the people that I want to serve in this world? And that's just kind of where my mind is most of the time. And it wasn't until I sat down and actually tried to note through my meditation practice where it was, did I realize that 95% of my life is lived out here in the future. And as you guys know, I suffer from anxiety. So the old saying holds true in that if you focus on the future all the time, chances are you're going to feel a lot of anxiety. Now, the cool thing about the noting practice or focusing in on your mind objectively is that you can take it away from the cushion. Now, the other day I was in the store and I was doing some grocery shopping for my wife and I, and as I was in the checkout line was moving a little slow. And before I knew it, I was in a full-fledged story about how ridiculously slow this line was and about all the things that I had to do after I was done grocery shopping. I had to go to a meeting. I had to get these process maps done. I had to do all this stuff. And my mind was out here. And in reality, if I would have just taken a moment to take a few deep breaths, I might have been able to relax a little bit in between going to my next activity. Instead of worrying about what I'm going to do next, maybe I should have just taken a deep breath while I waited in a line to check out. Maybe I should have just felt my body. Maybe I should have just leaned in to the comfort of having to do nothing But instead, I freaked myself out. I kept thinking about what I was going to do next until I actually had the same awareness that I have on my cushion away from the cushion. I was in line, standing in the grocery store, waiting to get checked out, and it suddenly hit me. I don't have to obsess about the future if I don't want to. And in that moment, it was like all the weight had been lifted off my shoulders. It was like I could feel all the tension in my stomach. That's where I keep my attention, like reside and flow through the rest of my body. It was almost like it was flowing through me and coming out of my body as opposed to being stuck there, right? I stopped resisting what was really at the end of the day. And that's what today's about. It's about finding where your mind is and bringing it back. Finding ways to notice whether you're in the future or the past away from the cushion and bringing it back to the present moment. Because really, this moment that we have is all we ever get in life. And if we squander this moment, aren't we really kind of squandering life? So think about this week, guys. And get on the meditation cushion. Find out where your mind is. Does it live in the past or does it live in the future? Once you know where it lives, you can bring it back. You can watch it. You can be mindful of it. And so with that, guys, thank you for watching our 33rd episode of the Minutes of Mindfulness series. I'm crazy grateful for every single person that's watched any single one of these videos. Again, these videos are made to serve you, so we really hope that they're serving you well. And if you have any ideas for the future, or if you want to see some future topics discussed in future episodes, please let us know. And then before I get out of here, I'm going to throw in a few plugs like I always do. Check me out at www.meditatingmillennials.com. I've got blogs and videos twice a week. If you like these videos that you've gotten here today, you'll like what you see over there. And then also do me a favor, check out Lee Hurst at www.purposefullivingcenter.com. Go see what kind of classes she's got going on, what kind of workshops she's got going on. She's always got amazing things going on. And then lastly, do me a favor, and if you want to get into like a yoga class or a mindfulness class or a meditation class, head over to www.goodelephant.co and see what they've got going on. We've got classes in Reno, we've got classes in Carson, we've got classes in Truckee, we've got classes all over northern Nevada. We've also got classes in Denver and Arkansas coming soon. So go check out Good Elephant Co. and see all of the amazing things that they're doing in this community and in this country. And I think in a few years, you'll be seeing Good Elephant in the news a lot more because I truly believe that this company has the power to change lives. So with that, enough plugging. Guys, thank you for watching our 33rd episode of the Minutes of Mindfulness series. Until next week, stay mindful, stay blessed, and we'll see you then.